Hello, my dearest friends. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt, and welcome to a brand new Bookmas video. I've got some audiobooks to talk about today. I'm going to be talking about the best audiobooks that I read in 2025. And if you don't know me yet, I'm going to tell you about how much I love audiobooks. In the past couple of years, audiobooks have become actually my main way of reading books because I'm mostly on the go most of the time throughout my day. And it's so much easier for me now to just pick up an audiobook and read in that way and consume the book in that way. So essentially about 85% of my reading consists out of audiobook reading. And I'm so happy that I have Storytel because a big portion of my books comes from there. Whatever I cannot get my hands on, I'm getting through Audible. And it's really an amazing thing to have an amazing audiobook to create this even better experience of reading if the narrators do an amazing job and the atmosphere is right and just everything is clicking well. Then the experience will be even better than if I were to physically read it. So I have a big love for audiobooks, and I have 10 books on my list today to share with you that I just immensely enjoyed because they were just done so well. And some of these books are quite popular. Some of them are maybe not so popular. So stick around to find out which ones are which here on this list. And I'm going to tell you a bit about the books. I'm going to tell you a bit about the narrators and how the books were narrated as well. And I hope you enjoy this video. So I'm going to start off with one of the popular books, and that is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, I have to say that all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books are narrated amazingly well. Her productions are just off the charts good. And actually, most of the books are narrated by Julia Whelan. This one is no exception. I absolutely adore Julia Whelan as a narrator. I actually got to meet her a couple of years ago at Rare in Florence, and she's a wonderful, wonderful human being. And she just does such an amazing job with her narration. She has this grittiness to her voice that I really love. And she has also a bit of a soothing quality to her voice, which I really love. And it's a single narration style of an audiobook, so there is no other narrator besides her. But she just does such an amazing job of making every character shine that I just didn't miss another narrator in this book. This book centers on two ladies who are going to be working for the same program at NASA in the 1980s, and they're going to be training to go into space. And they become friends first, but then something happens and it grows into more than just a friendship relationship. So it's a queer romance, a sapphic romance. It's more so maybe a women's fiction-y book, to be quite honest, because Taylor Jenkins Reid typically leans more towards the women fiction-y side, but there is a very prominent romance in this book for sure. There's also a side plot of one of the heroines who has a kind of a struggle with her relationship with her sister, and she has a wonderful niece whom she loves very much. So there is a bit of a familial drama kind of a setting within the book as well. And it's an overall 5-star read for me. And I think that Julia Whelan just contributed even more to my enjoyment of the book. So I definitely would recommend this one as an audiobook. Now, the second book is something completely different, to be quite honest. This one is Tourist Season by Brynne Weaver. Brynne Weaver has amazing productions for all of her audiobooks. She has, I think, won everyone over with the way that her audiobooks are produced, because there is special effects, there are a lot of fun, and the audiobook narrators she chooses are doing such an amazing job. For this one, we've got Samantha Brentmore and Robert Hatchett, and it's a duet style narration, so it's more interactive. It sounds more like a radio play even, and it's just such a fun premise, this one, and a bit of a bonkers plot. So we've got two essentially serial killers, both of them. She lives in a small town, and she has this found family with a lot of the people in the small town. And the guy, he kind of suspects that she is to be held accountable for his brother's death. So he comes into the small town to actually try and kill her. But when he gets to know her, he finds out that there's certain peculiar things going on with her, and he's intrigued by her, and he wants to know what her story is. So the story goes from there, and there's just a lot of banter, a lot of fun, quirky, amazingly weird moments within this book that make it so much fun. And just the way that the production is set up for this audiobook make it even more fun and enjoyable. So I would definitely recommend this one as an audiobook as well. Now, the next book that I absolutely loved as an audiobook is There at the Gates by Scarlett Sinclair. This one, I think the fact that it's an urban romantasy that has a very gritty and dark setting, just the audiobook narrators that were chosen for this one were very fitting. They created the right atmosphere for the grittiness of the book. We've got Laura Horowitz, who actually narrated Phantasma by Kaylee Smith, and Tristan Warden. I actually am not very familiar with this audiobook narrator, but I'm going to get familiar with him because I really loved him as Zarayev in this book. And this one is a dual style narration, but it was just done spectacularly well. I really enjoyed the plot of the story, but I enjoyed the narration and just the atmosphere of the audiobook even more. So my whole experience of enjoyment really got upped because of the fact that I read it as an audio. So I would actually really recommend this one. If you're not familiar with the plot, we've got a heroine who has magical powers, and in her realm, she cannot use her powers unless she is bound to a male, whether it's her father or the person she's betrothed to or going to marry. And she doesn't really want to have that be her fate. So she runs away from where she's from, and she goes to this region where our hero lives. He's kind of her protector, and some things start to happen because she finds this knife that start to lead her into very peculiar kind of situations, and the story goes from there. It's a very intriguing book. It has a scorching hot romance, and I absolutely loved it. The next audiobook, again, is something completely different and a different kind of an audiobook. It's The Favorites by Lane Fargo. This one is a full cast narration production, so that's why I loved it so much, I think. And I think people who actually read it physically were disadvantaged because they just didn't get the full experience of this book. I kind of compare it very much to Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, because that one was a full production audiobook as well. This one features Kristen Laken as the main character. So main narrator, I'm sorry. And there's like a list of 7, 8 other narrators that are part of this production. And the story features a hero and heroine who are both wanting to make it into the Olympics with figure skating as a pair. And the whole production of the audiobook features interviews and certain kinds of drama through like tabloids and stuff like that. So there's just so much goodness to this audiobook. There's a lot of drama, a lot of toxicity. And I really found that the whole heavy, dramatic aspect to the story is amped up because of the way that the audiobook was narrated. And I would definitely recommend this one as an audiobook for sure. Next up, we've got, again, a very different kind of an audiobook. I really love, now that I'm thinking about all these books, what kind of books I've chosen. The types of audiobooks that we have on this list are really completely different from one another. So you can definitely choose something very different towards the mood that you're in. This one is called For Whom the Bell Tolls by J.C. Lin. It's a romantasy. I'm not sure, is it a romantasy or just a fantasy romance? I don't know what to call it. But essentially, we've got a dual narration audiobook where the heroine is narrated by Elena Wolf and the narrator for the hero is Sean Masters. We've got a heroine who in the real world is terminally ill. She comes to pass away and goes to this place that is essentially purgatory. She needs to choose where she's going to be moving to, whether she's going to go to paradise or whether she's going to do something else. She gets certain options. And essentially, she is kind of looking to find herself in this realm, in this space, and she meets a lot of very intriguing characters along the way. One of them being a demon who is kind of the ruler of a certain part of hell, and he is our hero. I really, really love this audiobook because there's a lot of kind of heavier moments, and those are narrated in the appropriate type of way. There's also a lot of fun moments, a lot of banter. Those are also narrated exactly in the type of way that you would want to hear them. And I just really love the whole experience of the audiobook. So I would definitely encourage you to pick this one up as well. Now, the next one is narrated by one of my all-time favorite narrators, and I think that's why it's on the list, honestly, because I would put a book that is narrated by Wesley Siobhan on this list any day. And the book is Plus Size Player by Danielle Allen. It's a single type of narration book, audiobook, and I really, really love the story, but I also love the way that she narrates. She's a little kind of over the top with certain kinds of ways and situations that she narrates, but I love that about her because it does give her a signature way of sound, so I can definitely recognize her narration anytime. And the book itself centers on a hero and heroine who actually meet through casual dating. The heroine is happily dating around. She's dating multiple men. The hero really likes her, and they have this fun time with each other, but then they figure out that they're going to be working together. So it kind of becomes a conflict of interest to be dating each other. So there is a bit of a forbidden aspect to the book, but there is also a lot of fun casual situations with dates and a lot of sexy time and a lot of swagger when it comes to the hero and a lot of independence when it comes to the heroine. So I really, really loved the book itself, but I really, really loved the narration of the audiobook as well. So it just contributed again to my enjoyment of this book. Now, the next one that is on this list is really an unlikely one because it's not a romance. It actually starts off as this very depressing book. But I decided to pick it up because last year it was nominated for a Goodreads Choice Award and it had amazing reviews. So I decided to just try it out as an audiobook to see if I'll like it. The book is The Wedding People by Alison Espach, and it's a single narration audiobook. And the reason I put it on this list is because when I considered this book, had I picked it up as a physical book, I probably would have DNF'd it. The first 30, 40, maybe even 50% of the book were a struggle to get through plot-wise, but when it came to the narration was just done so well that it felt like someone was really telling me their story. It felt like really I was in a room with a person and just listening in on what they're telling maybe someone else. It was just so amazing to discover this story in the way that it was narrated. I really, really loved it in the end. I actually was considering giving this book 5 stars in the end. I think I gave it 4.5. I'm not sure what I rated it at this moment, but I really just enjoyed the audiobook experience for this one. And considering the fact that the physical book probably wouldn't have done it for me at all, the fact that the audiobook experience made me give this book almost 5 stars is just amazing. So I definitely had to put this book on this list. The book centers on a heroine who she is divorced. She is kind of miserable, and she has decided to go on this retreat to this hotel that she has always wanted to visit in this coastal town. And she gets there, but finds out that the whole hotel actually has been booked off for a wedding, and she's the only person who is booked into one of the nicest rooms that is not part of the wedding party. And the interesting part about this book, I'm not sure if this is a spoiler actually, so I'm not sure whether I need to tell you that, but the interesting part is that she has gone to this specific hotel for a very specific reason, and the story goes from there. Let me put it like this. So essentially, I didn't know what to expect of this book, and the way that it was handled in the end, I really, really enjoyed. And it's all because of the audiobook, if I have to be honest. So yeah, it had to be on this list. Now, next up, we've got one of my favorite books of this year, and that is Rewinded Back by Listam 40, the last book within the Windy City series. And I have to say, for me, it was so weird to read one of these books through an audiobook because I actually read all the other 4 books as physical books or ebooks. And the last book, I don't know, I just had a feeling about Rio that I needed to hear his voice somehow. I don't know what it is, but I definitely wanted to get the audiobook as well, so I got it through Audible. And this one is narrated by Megan Wicks and Connor Craze. It's narrated in duet, which I really, really loved. And being in this world where you're hearing all of your favorite characters sounded out for the first time was just such a special experience for me. I just fell in love with the story even more because it was an audiobook. We've got a hero who is a professional hockey player. He has a second chance at romance with his high school sweetheart. They parted on very kind of bad terms. And now both of them need to kind of work together because she's an interior designer. He's considering selling his house and he needs to have it redecorated. So they have this forced proximity relationship going on, and it's such a good time, this book. I really loved this last book within this series, and the audiobook just contributed even more to my love of these characters, so I would definitely recommend it. Next up, we've got a book by Kayla Gross. Kayla Gross has such amazing productions for her audiobooks. And one of the books that came out this year that has an amazing production as an audio is Whirlwind. This is like a Twister, so the movie Twister reimagining. And the book is a full production again, so you've got a full cast narration, and the 2 main characters are narrated by Victoria Connolly and Grayson Owens, and then one of the side characters, who is a very prominent side character, is narrated by Rob Moreira. So this one centers on, it's actually exactly like Twisters almost, but we've got an age gap romance between a hero and heroine who are a professor and a student. Both of them are working on this prototype to kind of get into a tornado so that they can start predicting patterns for how tornadoes are coming up. And they go on this adventure together, essentially. So there is an age gap, there is a forbidden aspect because they're a professor and a student, and there's a lot of amazing spice, as Kayla Gross is prone to do in her books. And the production was just amazing. I really love the audiobook. For this one, I would highly recommend it. Now, the last book on my list is Brimstone by Callie Hart. I know that this is kind of an unpopular opinion at this moment because there's a lot of controversy going around about this book at the moment because of some editing errors that everyone has noticed, except for me, probably because I read the audiobook for this one. And I just have to say that anything that is narrated by these 2 narrators, I think I'm going to be bound to love because I love both of these narrators. The female narrator is Stella Bloom, the male narrator is Anthony Palmini, and I just think that he does such a wonderful job at voicing this alpha, very kind of broody male main character, that it was just very much elevating again the experience for me. I really loved him as Kingfisher, and I don't know what it is, the fact that I was just so immersed into this world that I didn't even notice that there are certain things off with the plot. Just says enough about how much I was into this audiobook. I essentially cannot go too much into the plot of this book because it's a second book within a series. It follows up Quicksilver, and if you're unfamiliar with Quicksilver, we've got a heroine who is living in her own realm, but because of certain things that happen, she gets captured and gets transported in a certain way to another realm, where she discovers that there is this realm of fae and they are at the precipice of going into a war. And she discovers over there that she's actually an alchemist, and she has a certain relationship with a certain kind of a material called quicksilver. And she gets tasked with working on these weapons that contain this quicksilver material so that these fae can go into war. And the story goes from there. So essentially, I don't know, I just loved this whole world and the characters and the found family, and the audiobook was just great. So for me, this was definitely a favorite when it comes to the audiobooks of this year. All right, my dearest friends, so these were my top 10 favorite audiobooks that I read this year. Please let me know if you enjoyed any of the books on this list, or whether you have other favorites that you picked up this year. I really enjoyed talking about all of my favorite audios, because essentially, like I told you, I mainly read on audio these days. So essentially, whenever I discover a favorite audiobook, I just want to gush about it. I really hope to see you in the next one, which is going to be tomorrow. And I'm hoping you're enjoying all of these videos. I'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care, and bye-bye.